Good evening, everyone, and welcome to WCFL Dolphins Talk. Thank you all for joining us tonight. We're going to be discussing Sunday's game somewhat, where we see the improvements are needed, as well as talking about the upcoming game against the Giants. So let me bring on our co-host. We got Mr. John O'Hanlon.
What's up there, Papa Paul? How are you, brother?
I'm above ground and upright. That's all that matters. I've been talking up a storm today.
Yeah, I know.
We got Mr. Winters.
Winners, what's up, brother?
What's going on, gentlemen? Good evening, everybody. How you guys doing this evening?
Can't complain.
Wonderful, wonderful. The Miss Beautiful Chef, Miss Pamela.
What's up, Pam?
Hello, guys. Hello.
And Mr. Tom O'Gara himself.
What's up, Tom?
Campfire Tom, our favorite
I'm actually
campfire
trying to
dude.
light the fire pit right now.
John,
Fire pit, but it's not working out.
John O'Gideon and Mr. Polk out there in the panel or in the comments watching us. Thank you guys for joining us.
Mr. Polk.
Mr.
You want
Polk,
to burn
actually,
my spoon? Campfire
Mr. Polk says good morning, but it's actually good evening, Mr. Polk. Unless you just woke up, which I know that ain't true because you've been on watching the talk shows as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
My Dolphin brother, Mr. Polk.
Well, my first thing is we need to see something's got to be done with the defense, and my philosophy is Fangio's got to change some things up. He's got to change some things up. He can't stick to what used to work, especially with a bunch of new guys. Because these guys are the guys we had from last year, but they're new to his scheme.
Yep.
So as I said earlier in the other shows, he needs to pull the cork out of his ass and let his brain breathe a little bit.
Listen, all I can say is a good coach coaches the players they have, not the players they want.
Exactly.
John.
Yes. 100%, John. 100%.
I know Papa Paul he's been holding it in a lot today. He's been putting it out there, but he's been holding it back a lot. So Papa Paul,
I'm just, I agree with what Lewis had to say on things. He's got to work outside of his box. Yeah. He may be an old dog, but he needs to learn some new tricks or something.
Well, listen, self-proclaimed, he said it over the preseason, and before preseason, he said he had 2 to 3 different new packages that none of us has ever seen. So my whole thing is this. I'm waiting to see that. And I will say this, hold on a second. Not only that we can sit there and blame Fangio for last week, we got to blame players for doing basic things like tackling the damn
I understand that. I mean, we had a bunch of noodle arm tacklers last week. That's for sure.
Oh, my God.
But, Fangio hurt us during the offseason. Fangio did hurt us during the offseason. Do you remember what he said?
Yeah. That he doesn't have the players that he wants.
Yes. And that right there is putting our guys down.
Absolutely.
It is, Papa Paul.
He should have never said that on the books. He should have kept it to himself.
That's right.
And worked with what he had.
Well,
I think that it was used as motivation to be like, okay, I want to be a piece of this team. This is what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to help my game, Baker and Wilkins and everybody else.
Okay, but
that's all that was.
So, Tom,
at the same time,
how do you think that's worked out for him, though? That type of motivation, right?
I mean, does any new scheme only take 4 games?
No, absolutely
It was
not.
terrible for 3 years in Chicago, even. Like, before you got a top 5 defense in Chicago, it was like 2-3 years of him just like trying to figure it out. He got steadily better.
Good evening, Mr. Polkian. I understand, Tom, but yeah, we don't have time for that. Oh. This is 2023, and we have the players now.
gosh, yes.
Or we thought we did. Obviously not if they can't perform either. Got guys missing tackled. Fundamentals.
Okay.
Can't make the tackles for
We
them.
got all the offensive plays. We did not get the defensive plays. We had a top 10, defensive team last year. Top 5 at times near the end of the year.
Yeah.
It's
And
still
the whole-
majority. It's still a majority of the same players.
Yes.
Right.
And to hold Buffalo the way we did the last 2 games that we played them, and then to see this game, like literally when I was thinking through this game Sunday, I was thinking, okay, so you take what we had and you better it by, all these different players that we have and all these different schemes, the running game getting going and actually using the running game. And then you take, yes, Buffalo got better in a couple places too, but we didn't have this problem with Diggs last year. We did better covering him. Did he get plays? Yes, of course he did. But when you looked at what they did and what we did, we should have won this game by a lot.
Okay, real quick. I have Red, White, and Bills coming in. So we're all going to be courteous and listen to him because we all know he's a great guy.
Yes. Yep. He's still a fan of Buffalo. Sorry, still
what's up,
Buffalo.
Sean?
How's it going, everybody?
Hey, Sean.
Good evening. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Listen,
No problem.
out of respect, out of respect, as a co-host, I got to give you your props. You guys did what y'all was supposed to do last week. As much as I do not like what I am saying, I'm all about sportsmanship. We will see.
But a lot of those guys, I will, I know you've seen it, winners, as a lot of the guys were given props to Tua and some of the other plays for the way they reacted and how they handled it.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. It's 1-0 Phillies.
Okay. So
you got 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Right.
it's Sean, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sean. I mean, we did not tackle, and I know you guys saw that, but you have to admit there should have been a lot more. Not that it would have helped us win the game or anything, but there should have been more flags on you guys.
Yep.
It's tough to say 'cause I was there, and there was missed calls for both sides, and it was more that one of those games where it's just like, okay, well, I don't know what a flag is anymore because there was some missed on us, some missed on you guys, and I was just like, well, it's gonna be one of those days, I guess.
Okay, I know what Miss Pam's gonna ask.
Uh-huh.
Have you ever heard of such thing as a ball not being a first down because the player's in bounds, but the ball is across the first line, but out of bounds?
It's on the white, not on the green.
Yeah, I always thought as long as the ball was over, it was a first down. Because I thought when the game happened, I was like, why are they reviewing it for like 10 minutes? It should have been a first down.
Yeah, should have been a first down.
Yeah, and from where I was looking, it looked like a first to me. I don't know.
It was a first down.
Have you ever heard of the rule that because it was out of bounds, the ball itself was out of bounds when it crossed the first line marker? Have you ever heard of that rule?
Not really. Like I said, I thought as long as when you reached over the ball,
because why
at the
same time, why else would McDaniel challenge that even?
Right.
If that is an actual rule, but even the commentators were thinking it was a first down and were totally befuddled by it.
Yeah.
But then they said, so Sean, I wanted to tell you what they said. So I don't know if you went back and looked at the game, but I wanted to tell you what they said. They absolutely changed the way they were talking, like they were talking to children. Well, but I think whenever the ball touches the white, it's out of bounds. It has to be in the green. I mean, excuse me, but never in my whole life.
Because if that's actually the case, there would be a lot of touchdowns that weren't touchdowns.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah.
Not only that, you have receptions where the guy reaches down, his feet are in,
That's
catches the ball. The ball is past the white, but his feet are still
Exactly.
they
I
catch.
said that too, John. Me too, John. Exactly. So
Yeah.
the two touch, the little toes touching down, and the ball, the guy is reaching to catch the
Yeah,
ball, which is
exactly.
clearly going out of bounds.
Yeah.
It's always a first down. What in the world are they talking about? So it's
Yeah.
those things where they just make up some stupid rule that has never existed, and now they're going to apply it to the Miami Dolphins against Buffalo in Buffalo. Like I about come unglued with
Yeah.
that.
That was a head scratcher. Even from where I was in the stadium, I was like, "Well, looked like a first to me." I don't know what all the commotion is about, but
Right,
Because,
right.
yeah, and
Good to know.
they showed it on the jumbotrons.
mhm. Many
Yes.
times. Yep.
So yeah,
Here's one for you. What about the pass interference on Cater, where they were both checking each other? He never really touched him, didn't run into him, threw his arm out, hit his elbow, and they call it pass interference.
I was actually perfectly, in front of that play, and the reason it was a pass interference was Josh knew what he was doing too. He underthrew the ball because he saw the way Cater was playing on Diggs, and all Diggs had to do was go back to the ball a little bit, and that will cause a pass interference. So it was more of like you could argue, but it was more of Josh knew, okay, I know where this is going right now. If I just slightly underthrow it and make Diggs come back a tiny bit, that'll be an interference and it'll benefit us. And it's happened against us too a few times, and I always hate that. But it's unfortunately that's how they view underthrown balls. They still see it as, even though it's the quarterback underthrew it, it's still interfered by the defensive back.
Got to be contact. There's got to be
problem.
contact interference.
I wanted
Yeah,
to
like I said,
piggyback off of that. Can I
They
piggyback
didn't
off
call
of
it
that?
both ways, right? That
Okay.
was the problem.
Okay, go ahead, Dolphin.
So the
Go ahead,
reason,
Dolphin Winter. Sorry.
and I can understand where he's coming from, because I'll be honest with
Me
you,
too.
if he would have played the ball, so that was the problem. He didn't play. If he would have looked back at the ball and played the ball, then it
Yep.
could have called an offensive pass interference on Diggs easy. But since
Yep.
he didn't turn back and look at the ball and try to play the ball, that's why he got called for that pass.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what
That's
I
the
thought
other
too,
part of it,
because he
too.
didn't turn his head.
I wanted to call it go against Diggs bad, but he didn't play the fucking ball. If he would have looked
Yeah.
back and played the ball, then I would have said, okay, offensive pass interference, but he didn't.
Right.
And that's why he got called for that pass interference.
Yeah. Turning the head. And that really is football 101. But
Football 101.
I have multiple game clips where I went back, I went over that game, and I can show you the same exact, only from my perspective, there was more pass interference, and they did not call that same thing against Buffalo. It just didn't happen. So
you gotta understand.
we
Listen,
didn't.
they're gonna give them home cooking. Listen, guys,
Oh, yeah.
I get it. They're gonna get home cooking, and I'm not gonna blame that on our loss. We got our ass
No, I don't blame it
Yeah.
either.
No,
I agree.
now I got it. I got a little bit different.
We gotta get better. We gotta get back at fundamentals. That was a problem. That was a clear problem for us on Sunday.
No, I agree.
We did not have
But I
fundamentals.
got a little question for Sean. What was your opinion of Devon Achan?
Oh, I thought from what he's been playing, even last week and everything, he just seems like a guy that could be a leader for your team for years to come. And
Yeah.
it's interesting because I feel like if Wilson wasn't hurt, maybe he wouldn't have got an opportunity to really show who he was as a player. And even against us, he had some great runs. And last week,
Well,
obviously,
against you, he averaged he had 8 carries for 101 yards, averaging 12.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, he's definitely being as advertised from when you guys drafted him, and obviously I think as the weeks go on, they might shift to more. It's more even right now with Mostert, but I feel like maybe as the weeks go on, it'll start flexing up a little bit. Like, oh, now
gonna get more Coach McDaniel's already said we're going to see more of Devon.
If Mostert keeps on the ground.
Because Mostert's still good too, but
Yeah.
always go with the younger guy. In my opinion, that's always my thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, and they use Mostert, tried using Mostert a little too much, and he got 2 fumbles on us. And
Yeah.
After 2 fumbles, he should have sat out for a while, if not the rest of the game,
Yeah.
really.
Oh man.
Yeah, you got.
And I
Prior to
really-
the 2, he had 5 over 9 years.
5
That's
over
probably the
9.
worst
Well,
game as a
that's
pro. He's only had 7 career
wow.
fumbles over 9-year career, 5 before the 2 in the game on Sunday.
Ooh.
So
Well,
it's super
that-
uncharacteristic of him.
It is uncharacteristic of him. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
So it makes
I
you
feel like-
wonder if he might have got hurt or something at the same
He's
time.
such a beast, though. Mostert,
I understand, but
or
look,
otherwise, man, he is.
look what happened with Tua last year when I think it was the Green Bay game where he got hurt, got the concussion, and then he threw like 3 picks in a row. It was like he didn't know what he was doing and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like I'll
was
piggyback
definitely-
off of what Tom was saying. He mentioned how he had five fumbles in 9 years. I feel like it was a little bit of what the defense was doing and the gang tackling and punching the ball out, which made it. I mean, obviously you can't be perfect and never fumble, but I feel like it was just one of those type of games where the defense just had a different type of savagery to them, where they just felt like everything was personal and they did whatever they could possible to get the ball out. So I feel like it was a little bit of maybe he had an off day, but a little bit of it was just the defense was playing on a different level this week.
Sean, I don't disagree with that at all. And what I saw was a Buffalo team that came in, you could tell the intensity, right? Like they wanted that game bad. And unfortunately, I didn't see that same intensity from the Dolphin players. It just seemed like we kind of sleptwalked through that a little bit. I saw somebody say something about that they thought that the Dolphins were just exhausted. And literally because a 70-point game is exhausting, right? Like you're just out there, you're going again and again, and the hype and the whole thing. I don't know, but I didn't see the same intensity from our players that I saw from theirs. So I think Sean is right about, just going for the ball every time, just that killer instinct that they had.
No,
If
I
you
agree with
lost and 7 days later, you need a new trainer.
Yeah. Especially
needed
4
this
games
loss.
in the season, right, Tom?
You're not
They needed
exhausted
this.
later.
No, they went in too confident, like they didn't have to do anything, and just were like, "Oh, we're gonna roll over," and it's not that type of team, obviously.
We're not, clearly.
No.
Yeah.
Well, Buffalo's not the team to go in against saying that we're just going to
Well, that's
roll
what I'm
over.
saying.
Never, really.
Exactly.
Whether it's at their home or our home.
No NFL opponent. None. We just seen in the last 2 weeks. We seen the Cardinals. We seen the Cardinals beat the Cowboys. And we seen the Texans last week beat the crap out of the Steelers. You ever
Yes.
seen that? I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah. And
Well,
the Texans
Tennessee
are missing their
smoking
whole
the
offensive
Bengals.
line, too.
it wasn't
Yeah.
this week. It wasn't this week, but it was last week that 7 underdogs won their games.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that's what I'm saying. Any given Sunday now. Any given Sunday.
Yeah.
You know that's my philosophy. Any given Sunday, the worst team beat the Super Bowl team.
That's true. That is true.
But also, if you take a rivalry game like our teams, it's a complete rivalry, right? There is not a lot of love. There may be some respect, but dang, every team we want to put it on them and they want to put it on us. And so I just saw the intensity, and with that intensity went the momentum. We never really had, even when we, answered them score for score, the first 4 drives of the game, we just didn't look like, that team that was just, okay, this is us. We're easing through this. We got this. I didn't see it.
Oh,
And
okay.
we have to have
Sean, I want you to rebut on that. What's your opinion? What did you see?
Well, after the first 4 drives, 2 for each, I looked over at the people next to me. I was like, man, this is going to be like a 55-54 game like the Chiefs and the Rams were a couple years ago. It's going to be one team's got to make one play, and that's it, and that would be the deciding factor. And then for us on defense, they always run a zone all the time. And the first 2 touchdowns, it was very soft zone as we typically run, and it's like they were just trying to see what you guys were going to do. And I kept texting my friends. I was like, man, if we keep running the soft zone, it's going to be a long day for the defense. And then one thing that happened that usually doesn't happen with our coaches is they deviated from what they usually do and stopped being stubborn for once. And I say that because we always had a good defense, but Leslie Frazier, he never wanted to get out of what the game plan was. He believed in his game plan. So if we were supposed to run a zone, our base nickel defense in a zone, that's what we would do no matter what. So against you guys, they'd be like, yeah, well, the Dolphins pick apart zones, but we're going to do it anyway because I believe in our system. But Sean McDermott, what he did was he started doing disguised coverages with cover 2 zone, as well as playing press man in the front. And then also just, they go with the motion man and then they go back into zone coverage just to try to throw in different wrinkles and confuse the offense, which enabled us to get more pressure, which really shocked me because I was wondering that before the game started. I said, if we just run zone the whole time, Dolphins are going to score at least 30 points.
Yeah.
We'll see what the coaching staff does.
And you see, that's where our coach did not make a change at all.
Didn't change it up.
A lot of coaches are not just with our teams, but there's a lot of coaches out there that they're so stuck in their ways that they'll lose a game believing in what they, in what their system is instead of trying to coach to win. And we did that a lot last year and years before. So it's nice to see that McDermott is taking his approach of, because he was a great defensive coordinator before, and I was worried about that before the season started. I was like, being a head coach and a defensive coordinator, I said you could lose your job that way, trying to do 2 things at once. So I was worried at first that it would be too much for one person to handle, but it seems that what he's doing on defense has breathed new life into our players, because up until I think Monday night when the Seahawks got 11 sacks in the game, after 4 weeks we were leading in sacks and takeaways without Von Miller. So it was interesting to see, because last year when Von Miller got hurt, we had almost 0 pass rush. And we had a couple injuries, but it wasn't an excuse for them not to get a pass rush. So seeing it within the first 4 weeks, I know it's early and I know it's only 4 weeks, but to see them actually get a lot of pass rush, get a lot of pressure and quarterback hits and sacks, I think McDermott's really starting to change this defense into instead of being a top 5 great defense, but also even elevated more because they're able to adjust to other teams' strengths.
So let me ask you, Sean, going off what you just said, how do you see the difference of what your defense did against us and what they did against the Jesters week 1?
Oh, well, our defense didn't play bad against the Jets. They didn't need to play the same type of defense, aggressive style press man coverage against the Jets like we have to against you. The game really was Josh throwing the game away. And if you look at, when I watched the All-22 and you look at those 3 picks, every single one of them, he had his hot route open underneath and then another intermediate route that was open that he could have went to. But for some reason against the Jets, he always thinks that I need to get 30 points in one throw. And I don't know what it is. Like, it's weird. I saw some post that was like, the Bills always beat the Dolphins always beat the Patriots, the Patriots always beat the Jets, and whatever. And I'm just like, that's kind of interesting, because it seems like that we do struggle against the Jets more than any other team. The Dolphins do always beat the Patriots, and then we always do pretty good against you guys. So it was interesting to see. But as far as our defense goes, I guess they count the punt return on the defense, but if you don't count that punt return touchdown from special teams, they were on the field a lot more, 4 turnovers. So they had 4 extra drives in good field position for the Jets. And, they're not that great of a offense, of course. But
no, of course, yes.
We held them to 16 points without the punt return. And it was just, we played aggressive. We got a lot of, we brought a lot of blitz along with our pass rush, a lot of good stunts. But that was, different team, because you guys are a more potent, explosive offense. So we couldn't do the typical, let's just blitz, bring some fire blitzes on the right side or left side and, things of that nature. You had to be very smart and detailed with how you played your offense.
Right. Well, the 2 turnovers didn't hurt either, right? Like, I mean,
Definitely. Yeah, it doesn't help you guys at all.
super bad timing. I mean, at least if you're going to turn the ball over, do it on the other end of the field, not backed up to your own end zone. I mean, that was just, is a give me 10 points.
That's a great point you brought up too, Pam, because in the Commanders game, we got 4 picks. And we got 3 points off of 4 turnovers. So we didn't capitalize off of turnovers in that game. So in a game like this, playing a team because it was funny, I was next to some guy who I didn't know, but when we were up 21 points, I wanted to feel like the game was over. But then in the back of my mind, I was like, it doesn't really matter because they could get a touchdown on one play, and then it's a 2-score game, and then we turn the ball over maybe, and then another quick drive, and it's a 1-score game. So I was just like, I never felt like the game was
okay, winners. What just happened with the Philadelphia game?
Somebody hit something.
Real Minto home run. Philly's up 3-0.
I knew it was something. I seen all that.
Smacked it.
I just switched over too.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Mr. Polk, in the comments, the things he's talking about that our players weren't prepared by our coaches. And so one of the things that I thought coming off the Denver blowout, I literally thought that Vic Fangio, being a Sly Fox, going to be an experienced defensive coordinator, that he would leave that game. He would not be celebrating. He would leave that game and go, you know what? We shouldn't allow 20 points. I'm going to go study film. I'm going to make sure that this defense is ready. Like, I thought the dude was going to go into work mode immediately. And what we saw was not a guy that went into work mode. He went to his own notes, and he's like, yeah, I'm sticking with this. I'm sticking with that. This is what we're going to do.
Nothing changed from the week before.
Exactly.
Except missing Sean Elliott and having Brandon Jones not ready back there.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It's just like Nick Needham's coming off a pup, but he's got 3 weeks to work, practice and everything. And they might say he's ready for this weekend. They might wait 3 weeks.
Right.
But if they don't put him back on the 53-man roster in 3 weeks, he goes back on the pup.
Yeah.
And that will be for the rest of the year again.
I know he's been working out. He wanted to come back.
I know. I know that too, John, because I've been talking with his mom and stuff. Yeah, just like you have. I know.
Yeah.
And he wants to play. He's been working hard and doing everything he can. I do know that. He's a good nickel corner, nickel.
So what do you think, Papa Paul and John? What do y'all think that Needham brings to the table that can change up what we're doing on defense? So what do y'all think?
A little bit more intensity.
He's gonna bring, because he's been out for a year now. He's been really wanting to play, talking with his mom and everything. He's gonna get out there and gonna just hype it up, because he's gonna want to crush somebody when he's out there.
Right.
That part I agree with, but as far as changing anything, nothing. If Fangio doesn't coach to the players he's got, nothing's going to change.
I agree with you on that, John. 100% on that. 100%.
I want to ask all you guys, from what I heard from last year and from a little bit this year, that Kohu's been pretty good in the slot. So would you want, if Needham came back, would you want to have Kohu not play slot anymore? So let's say Ramsey's there. I know obviously he's not, but say Ramsey's healthy, X's plan. Would you rather have Needham or Kohu in the slot?
I'd rather have.
That's a really good question.
In the slot, it's hard to say. I'd like to see Needham there. He's very good, and He's been around a little bit longer than Kohu and stuff, but he's very good in the slot. I know Tom disagrees with that.
No, I think you need him to Swiss Army knife, and it just depends on scheme and fit. I mean, Cater's a better slot corner, but Nick can play linebacker if you need him. Like, he could drop down and be that fifth linebacker.
Yeah, and that's
great. Yeah, that's great.
You know,
he plays 3 safety high-low, plays 4-2.
It's gonna depend on how Fangio does things. I mean, he needs to go a 3-5, I think, instead of this just a 4-man front. He needs to have a 5-man front.
I mean, we need something from number 13. We need something from Wilkins. We need something. We need something from Chubb. We need something from Ogba, a little more. We need Phillips back.
Well, and Phillips is going to add a lot back, right? Like, I mean, every time I turned around, I saw Wilkins, and he's getting double teamed. I mean, over and over. I mean, I don't know what more you expect the guy to do against a great offensive line where they're up on him. I mean, being double teamed. So I'm just thinking.
I know Phillips got hurt, but the first 2 games, you really didn't see nothing out of him.
Not too much. Not in this scheme, did we, Papa Paul?
No.
Nope.
And maybe that's where, you know, Fangio just needs to change his scheme up a little bit, swallow his pride, and realize his scheme, the way it is not working with these guys.
Yeah. As good as Fangio's reputation is, you have to coach to the strengths of your players. And
exactly what John said earlier.
That, from what I could see. But I also feel like he might be kind of being lazy about it this season because, I mean, he did. I forgot who mentioned it. One of the Dolphins creators that I listened to mentioned it. How he basically said that this defense isn't going to be what it's supposed to be this year. So I feel like he kind of just you know gave himself that. Well, don't expect much from us this year until next year when I can get guys that I want.
No,
I feel like maybe
and that's absurd,
right there. Yes,
exactly.
And I had the whole thing. I actually had the whole thing here where Barry Cunningham is breaking it down, what he said, and I'm going to bring it up in a minute.
Well, and the point is, so I mean, y'all might know what I did for a living my entire life. I taught dance my entire life. I was competitive throughout the U.S. and internationally with my students. I'm from a little tiny town. And the thing is if I lived off my accolades and decided when I got older that I didn't need to change up, I was going down. When you get older, you have to realize that much more, that you have to pay attention, that things have changed. The game isn't the same, and Fangio needs to change with the game and with the circumstances he has. He cannot sit back on his laurels and go, well, I'm this guy. Get it together, dude.
Okay, let me play some of this, and when y'all want to, if you want to discuss something that's said, tell me to stop.
I think both
I'll
of
raise
them
my
are making
spoon.
good progress. They're not where we need them to be just yet, but I think both of them are working hard and they're giving us good progress. And hopefully by game one of them or somebody else will surface the exact position.
Different guys that are kind of filling in.
I think we have some good talent in some positions.
Really,
We need to find guys to be able to execute and play good in all 11 positions, and we're working to get that done. So we're not a finished product by any means.
Pause it there, Paul.
So Fangio,
Go ahead.
He's got talent. He's got to learn to use it. I
Yeah.
said on Monday on the first show that I went on, there's 2 people to blame for this loss, Fangio and McDaniel.
Yep.
And I still believe that.
Absolutely.
I agree, John.
I agree.
is going to surprise some people here because he's going to say he's not really confident and satisfied with the players he has in camp right now. Check this out.
What has been your impression when you see the players on the field of the talent that you have on defense?
We have some really good talent at some places.
At some
Some places.
In other places, we've got to find the talent.
So right now he's already made his assessment. They had OTAs, now they've had mandatory minicamp, and he's already made his assessment and went, hey man, I got to go out and get some more players. This isn't going to be what I need to be successful. Vic Fangio just said, I'm not done yet. I got to go find some guys. These guys ain't it.
So I think it's a good mix right now. Our good players have got to play really good for us to be good, and we got to find the other guys to fill in that play good in spite of their lack of playing time and experience.
So where's he going to get these guys? Those clips from my archives are of Vic Fangio speaking during OTAs and during training camp. And here we are months later, 4 games into the season, and he's still whining about not having the personnel to run his defense. And he has a lot of fans out there on Twitter and elsewhere trying to keep him in the gurudom and make him seem like he's going to be doing something special for the Miami Dolphins defense sometime soon. Give him time. It's only one game. Obviously, when you set the table with excuses months in advance, it's easy to say, I told you so. I don't have the guys. These players suck. Don't blame me. Dude, this is the NFL. At some point, people are going to be justified in their thinking that you took the defensive coordinator position with the Miami Dolphins to build your retirement nest egg before you get out of the league. Let's face it.
I see that all over the place right now.
Yeah. Papa Paul, he just called it exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you take this job and you're talking about next year. This team is set to win this year. We're not waiting for next year. Dude, get off the pot, or whatever. Let's go.
Yeah. Shit or get off the pot.
Yeah. I wasn't gonna say that, but yeah.
Well, I know you will during some games.
Oh, I said a little bit of damn every now and then.
The Miami Dolphins defense isn't good. The Miami Dolphins defense can't tackle. And they picked the Buffalo Bills to have their worst tackling performance of the season. Unfortunately, in today's NFL, there's no easy solution to this. People hardly tackle anymore, even in practice. It's just the way the NFL is now. People don't hit. That's quite the dilemma. So what do? Well, Vic Fangio, this is on you. This is what you get paid the big bucks for. Likewise, Fangio is going to have to answer to the continuing question that I and other people have brought up, being, why did you leave Kader Kohu on an island out there with Stephon Diggs all game long? Xavier Howard has had his penalty problems, and he's had some injuries, but couldn't he have made a difference? Why didn't you even try?
Or give him a little help out there, right? Get some help over there. Because Kader, I mean, that really isn't, the way he plays. Nobody leaves a guy on someone like Diggs all by themselves. What? They double cover Tyreek all the time. Why are we leaving Diggs out there? It's almost like you didn't know what to expect from him. I mean, I don't know what you're thinking when you leave Diggs out there by himself against Kader.
Yeah,
he did what he could.
Xavier's making $30 million a year or whatever it is. He should be the guy covering one-on-one.
And he wanted to, from information that very liable, he wanted to go on Diggs, but Fangio wouldn't let him.
Yeah, I saw Howard's tweet. He said he wanted a chance and he wasn't giving it.
Yeah.
And that really bothers me.
Said no.
That's what really bothers me. Like we got tweets going out between one of our top defensive players and the defensive coordinator. This is not good. This is not good. They need to be in-house. They need to be handling their business behind the scenes, not putting it out there. So how frustrated is X that he's putting that out there? Because Fangio's not listening. That's
100%.
upsetting.
Fangio went into the game that his scheme against the Buffalo Bills was that Cater Kohu would cover Stephon Diggs all game long. Why not call an audible and say, this isn't working, I need to change up and possibly put Xavier Howard over here? Fangio could have given him some help. He chose not to. And the pressure on the secondary didn't ease up all game long because the big guys up front got no production either. The Buffalo Bills were allowed to run up the middle with complete impunity. It wasn't until late in the first half that Zach Sealer even got on the board with a tackle and was the only notable play by a defensive lineman up to that point. Christian Wilkins, who's got his hand out looking for the big payday, looking for that big bag, didn't even register on the stat sheet for the first 3 quarters. Yes, I understand that Christian Wilkins is a defensive tackle, but his hallmark to fame thus far in his career is that he's been a run stopper. In my latest live broadcast, I had a question from one of the viewers regarding Vic Fangio and the Miami Dolphins defense. Check out my response right here. I am sick and tired and disgusted over a coach who complains, I don't got the personnel. Man, if you don't have the personnel, number one, whose fault is that? You got hired in March or April. If you don't have the personnel, I'm sure there are probably 31 other teams who wish they had different personnel. I don't see them putting out press conferences and telling everybody, I don't really know how this is going to work this year because, I don't have the personnel. I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that cop out. Are you telling me or telling all of us that the only way your defense works is if you have an all-star team playing defense? That's, to me, idiotic. That, to me, is just completely beyond the pale. I don't have the personnel. You think the Carolina Panthers are going to say they don't have the personnel? You think the New York Giants, who they're playing next week, are going to say, yeah, we could probably beat the Dolphins, but we just don't have the personnel?
Oh, yeah.
Or are they just going to do the best with what they have and work towards the future and see what happens? I am sick and tired of Vic Fangio complaining about not having the personnel. Here's why. When Vic Fangio signed that contract and decided to come to Miami, I'm sure during that period of time that they were courting him, he looked at the roster. He looked at some film. Who can I have do this? Who can I have do that? Guys, I need Jalen Ramsey. You need to go out and spend a shitload of money. Bring Jalen Ramsey. Okay, Chris Greer goes and gets Jalen Ramsey. What do you need next? Linebackers suck. I need David Long. All right, we're going to get you David Long. And he brought in David Long. And when you draft, I want you to draft this kid Cam Smith because I think he'll be good in a year or two. He's not going to be someone who can play right now, but bring him in. Okay, we'll draft Cam Smith. You had input. You knew where you were before you signed the contract. You understood where you were the day you went to the first OTA practice. There's no surprises. You have what you had when you got signed, in addition to the additions that you brought on. But complaining that you don't have the people is a cop-out. It's an absolute cop-out. I can't say it any better than that. I see people on Twitter going, oh, give Fangio a chance. What chance? We're 4 games in. We're a quarter away into the season. If you think much is going to change without there being some big trade or Jalen Ramsey coming in and feeling better and being able to participate, there's nothing that's going to change. This is the scheme. This is what he runs. He's making excuses. Oh, yeah, they were 3-0 and things were looking good. And I remember I posted and people got pissed at me and I said, you played against a bunch of scrub teams. You played against the Chargers who were crap. You played against the Patriots who were crap. And everything was fine. You were 3-0. The Broncos, you did great. And then you run up against a team that's got something and you got embarrassed. Absolutely embarrassed. And then you left Cater Kohu, who is not the best cornerback in the world, but you left him out on an island all game long. You didn't flip Xavier Howard onto Diggs. You left that kid out there to dry. Why? Did anyone at the press conference ask him, hey, Vic, why didn't you put Xavier Howard on Stephon Diggs? Of course not. They don't ask those kind of questions. But why?
Yeah.
What was your adjustment? We all watched the game. What did you do different at halftime? Hey, man, we got to go into the locker room. We got to figure out what we can do, make our halftime adjustments. All right, so Cater, we're not going to make any with you. We're going to keep you out there all by yourself. Okay, I'll do my best.
You sure you're ready for this?
I'll do my best.
Your best. Losers always whine about their best. Winners go home and the prom queen.
My best. Yeah, do your best. Okay. You're 4 games in. Quarter of the season's done. Not much, if anything, is going to change. This is the scheme he runs. He runs at bend or don't break stuff, and he hopes it's going to work. And when it doesn't work, you saw what happened. I'm not even talking about Mike McDaniel on the offensive side. You saw the defense. They couldn't stop the run. Josh Allen destroyed him. But you know what? Everybody will forget it and be happy. Everyone, for the next 2 weeks, everyone will be happy because we're back to playing cupcakes. You're playing a Giants team that's 1-3, and then you got the Carolina Panthers that are 0-4. So you got a collective 1-7 where you can stomp the yard and put up 45 points per game again, and everybody will forget what has happened against Buffalo. Everyone will start talking about MVPs and championships all over again because you get to stomp on the shitty teams.
Okay, I've had enough of that because I agree with him on 100%.
I'm not big into him.
I do too.
You know, I'm not big into Barrett. I don't watch his stuff, but just this whole thing, yeah, Fangio needs to change something up, and Fangio he wasn't there.
Did you turn the volume down, Paul, when that was on?
No, I didn't mess with anything.
Anybody else having trouble with volume?
No, I could hear it good.
I hear everything.
For once, I'm good.
So one of the things that I noticed, our defense lined up poorly, right? Like to me, they looked confused about what they were supposed to do. And I know that Buffalo's offense was throwing out some things, but I mean, there's no reason those guys look confused. I didn't get it. I like we said about the tackling, the poor angles. I mean, that is something that the guys on our defense shouldn't have had problem with. But I think it had to do with the way they lined up and that they never really got adjusted to the fact that, hey, I need to take this angle. I mean, the whole thing just looked bad. And they ran up our gut. Oh, my goodness, they ran up our gut over and over.
Connor Williams makes a difference.
Huge.
Yes, he does.
Connor Williams makes a big difference.
For timing, for rhythm, for everything. When you got 2 guys coming up the middle, Ed Oliver. And
Good evening, Mr. Polk.
It's over.
Hey, Mr. Polk.
Hey,
No,
Mr.
I
Paul.
agree, Tom.
I hate to run y'all. I have company tonight. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay, Tom. I know you have company. It's all good. Thank you for joining us while you could.
No problem. I'll
Campfire
talk to y'all soon.
Tom.
I'll see everybody.
Always love it.
All right,
Depends on, brother.
take care now.
I'll see you this weekend in Miami.
I'll be there.
Let's go.
Ends up.
I'm going to jump back in and see if I can't fix my volume.
Okay.
Okay, John.
Sean, I just opened up the panel. There's a lot. I know Miss Finns is doing a show tonight. Usually we have a lot more people here. If you want to stay on, you're more than welcome to. We appreciate all your input you gave us and everything.
Sean.
Yeah, I love to be here. Yeah, I got a few more minutes because my wife's going to be going to bed soon, and she always yells at me when I'm loud. So
Yeah, you got to take care. Happy wife, happy life.
yeah,
Mhm.
There you go.
we'll be there. We'll be there week 18. I've been throwing it in some of the chats that So it's funny because she loves Florida. She's from Brazil. She wants to move to Florida all the time. She always brings it up, and then she looks. At me
And then
one
you'll
day-
become a Dolphins fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, never that. But she was like, "Oh, I got your tickets. I got 2 tickets to Week 18. Bills Dolphins game." And for a second, I was like, "Oh, okay." But then I was like, "Wait, you really got tickets?" She's like, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. You want to go to Miami, don't you?" So now she got the tickets, and then we're gonna spend the week, or 3 or 4 days in Miami now. And I was like, "Oh, so you got what you want, and you bought the tickets to balance it out a little bit. I see what you did. So we'll be there.
Just say thank you, Sean. Just say thank you. Thanks, honey.
I did for sure. And then we'll do some fun stuff in Miami. She's been there a few times. I never been to Florida once ever for anything. So
oh really? Oh wow. Okay.
It'll be a new experience for me. And
well,
our stadium is great. You'll love it.
When you come down, Sean, we tailgate at East 12.
East 12? Okay, let me write that down.
Yeah.
So I know.
That's on basically the east side of the stadium. It's right there. It's dead center, of the end zone out. You'll see the big sign up on the light pole.
Yep. Awesome. East 12, East 32. That's all right there together, right, Papa Paul? That whole area pretty much closed.
They changed some of the numbers around.
Oh,
it's East 12. It used to be East 32 at the end, the other end of it. It's East 22 at the other end of it now.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So that's
I'm definitely looking forward to being there. It's going to be fun.
I think you'll like it, Sean. And just as someone who's been married for 38 years, I just want to tell you, just say thanks, honey. Love it.
It goes a long way.
You say thank you, honey, and then you still go do what you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Got to make her happy.
Yeah.
Now it's a lot better. I had to call Maria. She called me while we were on. She's at work.
Okay. Well, I sent her the invite. I know she's always working though.
Yeah, she's at work.
Got to work to pay for those tickets to go to Dolphin games, man.
Raphael, I appreciate you joining us. And yeah, we shit the bed, all right. I hope it's out of their system too.
Yes, I know, right? Like, I mean, this isn't what we should be having. And I can't believe we're talking about a defensive coordinator who wants to be stubborn in what he thinks. Like, I need to go over there. I will take my spoon and teach him a little lesson.
Well,
You know what I saw? You know what I saw on Sunday? The same defense we had last year with Boyer. It was no different. Guys were 8-10 yards off the line of scrimmage. What was the difference?
Actually, I thought we looked better last year.
Yeah,
we look a little better, but the similarities was this with Boyer. Sometimes he got stuck with certain schemes and wouldn't change it when he needed to. I seen the same thing because I'm gonna tell you something. I didn't get a chance to see the game Sunday, but I watched a replay of it today on NFL Network, and that our defense. I mean, they look like little kids playing grown-ups. I'm sorry, except for Andrew Van Ginkel.
Well,
except for Andrew Van Ginkel.
Yep. Van Ginkel was our boom, boom, boom. Van
Ginkel all year has been rocking it. But Fangio, Finn, leave the cat alone.
Well, and another thing that I thought of too was we started out a couple plays with Smythe. He had what? Why did we stop with Smythe? Why are you stopping with our tight ends? What is your issue with tight ends? Smythe is he is tough guy. Barrios.
You know what? I don't care what Lewis and them said about we didn't stop the run, but there was points that we should have been running it, and we weren't.
I was with you the whole way. I said that, and I did the whole breakdown. I went and looked at every quarter, how many times we ran the ball, and you and I had the same take on that we gave up on running the ball. Okay, so maybe like we had some more, a few more numbers in the first half. But when we saw that Chan could run the ball. I mean, I get what they were saying is later in the game, but you know what? You got to get somewhere. You got to get that run going, and then you can open up the pass game, right?
Well,
Like, I mean,
it's like I tried to say earlier. It's like I tried to say earlier. What gets you a touchdown? First downs. You have a guy that's averaging 12.6 yards a carry against the team that you're playing right there.
Yep.
You need the first downs in order to get to the touchdowns.
And then also too, I'm going to piggyback on what y'all saying too. Even though A-Chain was running the ball well, and we had Mustard having a bad day, if he's having a bad day, you bring in the next running back. You
Yeah.
bring in
whoever's
the next
hot
running
hand,
back.
right?
Bring in Chris
Mr.
Brooks
Polk?
or bring in
Yeah.
Solomon Ahmed. You know, what I'm saying is that you don't give up on the running game because it's having a bad day. And I'm not putting him down because everybody's going to have a bad day. But you bring in
Yeah.
the next guy and say, listen, get in there and see
And
what
make
you
it
can do
work.
to help. And
Go with
see,
the
here's
hot
my
hand.
thing. I'm a little, you know, even though it's okay to if they want to make H in the RB1, you have to also consider careful and use some of these other running backs because we don't want to get him hurt. You got to think about that going down the road too. So I like to see you run by committee, but like I said, if HN is doing his thing, yes, go ahead and do that. But bring in somebody else if Mustard's not going to do well.
I
Bring
mean,
in some Almighty Chris Brooks.
That's right, Mr. Polk.
don't we
Why not
have
throwing books?
don't we
Brooks as a change up?
don't we bring 3 running backs to a game?
Exactly.
At least
But
3, right, Papa Paul?
And
At
we've only
least
been
3,
using 2.
4?
Well, we have
right.
like 4 or 5 running backs. I know one of them's on, injured and things like that. But all they did was use 2. I never saw any other running backs back there besides receivers running the ball because he wants his speed. But my God, get one of the other running backs get in there and run the freaking ball.
And how many times did we see the fullback? Once, twice? I mean, Ingold had a great play there, right? So what got us to the dance in the first place, the first 3 weeks, was the fact that we spread the ball around. I think we had 9 players touching the ball, right? The first 3 weeks in those games.
We had more than
spreading.
that. We had more than that, I think.
I mean, it was a lot, right? So my point is that if what makes you dangerous is the fact that, okay, you cover that guy, we'll do this guy or that guy or another guy. And that's what made us dangerous and prolific as an offense. So why do you stop doing? You gotta finish the dance with the girl you went with. I'm just saying.
Yeah, well, guess what Buffalo did on Sunday? Spread the ball around. First half, they had 9 different players receive a ball in the first half.
Thank
And
you.
they ran the
Exactly,
ball.
John.
And they also ran the ball. So you had a balanced offense with the Bills because they did what's Cook brother's name? What's Cook brother's name? James Cook, right? Okay, James Cook would think it was another running back they were using that was running the ball. They had it balanced out. And I give kudos to the Buffalo Bills.
I'm gonna piggyback off of you, Mr. Paul. Their offensive line was punching it straight up the gut against our defensive line, and that seemed that about 80 to 90% of the game they were the most physical team, and you have to give it up to the Bills this week. But week 18, I will see Sean. I will be down there for that game. Week 18. I'm looking forward to meeting you, and you guys are definitely, you're definitely welcome to come through. And I definitely can tell you the flag right here will be flying. And definitely, man, I'm looking forward to meeting you and talking some trash and, maybe
I'm looking forward to meeting a lot of y'all.
Oh, Sean, you're coming down for the last game?
Yep. I'll be
Gotta come to East 12, brother.
I told him.
I got it written down here. I'll be ready.
Have you seen the new Steelers linebacker?
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. Jeez.
Wow.
Did
Wow.
he just get out of prison? What is that?
Damn.
funny.
Things you see.
So I want to piggyback off of something that Paul said. How do you get touchdowns? First downs. How do you keep Buffalo's offense off the field? First downs. If they don't
Keep
have the
offense
ball,
on the field. Exactly,
You know,
John.
the whole thing is, the guys earlier were talking about, well, running plays take longer. Well, you're supposed to keep the defense on the field longer to tire them out. So wouldn't using running plays to tire the defense out and then throw a
Yep.
pass here or there work?
Right.
it worked for
And then
Buffalo.
also too,
Exactly,
and then also
John.
too, with Chris Brooks, you got a big running back that can pound and wear down the defense. But like I said,
That's another thing. Our
we're not
fourth
gonna use them.
downfall. Our
And
fourth
I'm not
downfalls
saying
were
that.
atrocious.
I mean, I agree with John. I blame it on Fangio and McDaniels because they didn't change things up after halftime when they should have changed everything up.
Exactly.
Well, Mr. Polk just said
Exactly.
we got Brooks. He can pound the ball. How
He
come
can
on
He
fourth
pound the
can.
down we're
ball.
trying to run 5-second pass plays?
Look,
Yeah.
Well,
here's
and
my
What are you
thing with
doing?
Brooks. I'm not
And Tua took 2
Brooks is
sacks on those plays.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Ridiculous.
What-
Brooks,
exactly. It wasn't working. Change the freaking scheme.
It's
and,
fourth and
and
one.
and
What are
then
we trying to throw the ball for? Pound it up the middle.
right with Brooks.
Get
That's
Ingold
what
in there. Get Brooks behind him. Have Ingold go in. Brooks behind
exactly.
him. Let Tua and a tight end pull and run up behind him and push. How come we don't use the push play that everybody else uses on fourth and one?
Exactly.
Right.
You never.
Right.
We have never done that this year.
Why?
Now, if you talking about push play, because I think who was that ran? That was I think it was James ran that ball, oh my goodness, and then Josh got behind him and pushed him into the end
Yes,
zone. If that's what
we
you're
yes,
talking about,
should.
Yeah.
see, that's what I'm
We
saying.
should
yes,
have.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm
we
saying.
should have
That's
been
why
doing
we
things
need
like that with Chris Brooks and
right
everything.
with
Yes.
Chris
Yeah.
Brooks. Use him on
Watch the
third
Eagles.
down
Watch the
plays.
Eagles
Use him
run
in the
that play.
red zone.
And what is their hesitation with using Brooks? Because I've
I
been
don't know.
screaming Brooks from, preseason game one, or I don't think we actually saw him preseason game one, but from the beginning, I've been screaming about that kid. He proved himself. So what if he doesn't do well? At least you put him in and saw what he could do. I mean, for goodness sakes, you have to throw the kitchen sink. Throw the kitchen sink at him.
He's a big bodied running back, and he
Yeah.
should be in there for them short downs.
Absolutely.
In
He's
the
an
red
angry
and in the
runner.
red zone. Also in the
Yeah.
red zone. Put him
He's
in
an
the
angry
and then,
runner that runs like, I don't know. Well, I know you know. So the
no
game
Jay
against,
Ajayi.
yeah, exactly, Mr. Polk. So that run, that big breakout run that Brooks had against Denver, and they flashed to Tua on the sidelines going, watching him. That little juke move that he made, I mean, that is not something you have to have the physicality to sit there and change direction like that. To watch that guy change direction and then head straight back up the field, that isn't something everybody can do. I don't care how big you are, how fast you are. That's a different move. We got to have that guy in there.
Well, he
Right. And
definitely
then
needs to be
also
on
too.
short downs.
Yeah.
Right.
Especially in a
And then
game like
also too, and
Sunday when Mostert was struggling in the short game.
Right.
Why not give him a chance when the score was what it was, and see what the young kid could do? But it just seemed
Exactly.
it seemed like McDaniel was not believing in the defense they can make a stop, so he didn't know how to call the offense because he's like, well, the Bills are gonna get the ball and do something with it anyway. So what can I do here? And I feel like I think Pam, you mentioned it in one of the shows earlier today. You felt like he may have outcoached himself in a way. I think that was
Yes.
you. I don't know if it was or not. But
Well,
I feel like-
I've been saying that since Monday. He outguesses himself. If you
Yes.
look at his first 15 plays were our first 2 drives, they moved the ball right down the field. After the scripted plays were over, He was lost.
Yeah, and it's I don't know him personally, or I don't follow them like you guys do, obviously, but it's his second year as a head coach, and I feel like he's already thinking like, I'm smarter than everybody out there. Nobody knows more than I do. I can always outwit everybody. And there's guys like Sean McDermott who have been coaching, in the NFL for decades. He was under Andy Reid. He led a team to a Super Bowl as a defensive coordinator. Now he's been coaching as a head coach for 7 years, and they just know they know the little things. You know what I mean? They know like when something's going wrong for the other team, how the coaches are responding. They know exactly how to make it feel uncomfortable for the other team. And I just feel like
How to make
McDaniel
adjustments.
McDaniel needs to mature in that sense of he may be very smart, but there's always someone bigger and badder out there. And he has to understand, I know what I'm doing, but I can't just assume that I'm the smartest guy out there. And I think once he does that maturing, you won't see a lot of games like this, if that makes sense.
You're only the smartest guy in the room if you're sitting in a room by yourself. Seriously, to think otherwise, you do yourself a disservice by not understanding your position. Yes, he's got great talent, and I'm not even saying that Sean's right. Like as far as like, does he think that way about himself? Good Lord, I hope not, because that is. I don't care who you are or how great you are. There's always somebody else that can show you something, and you better learn that lesson.
And learn it quickly.
I don't think he's the smartest guy in the room. I just think he outthinks himself.
Yes. Yeah, he gets a little too cute with it. Like, don't think it.
Right.
Just look at what's there, right?
Right.
And I don't know, Sean. I feel like you're a fairly young guy, and so I don't. How old are you?
28.
Did you? 20. Oh goodness. Oh goodness.
I got kids
My
older than
youngest
him.
son.
I got kids older than him.
I got nieces and nephews older than
My
you.
youngest son is 10 years older than him. So yeah.
Damn, I lost my volume again.
No, that's that. I don't know if you've ever heard of Lusaka Polite, if you know who he is. If you don't know who Lusaka Polite is, you should look him up, because to me, he is one of the best fullbacks ever. And he was the guy that went into the game when everybody knew he was going to get the ball, and it was 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and it was a guaranteed first down. Tell me, John, how many times did he not get it? How many times?
Very few.
Well,
Very
like
few.
1 or 2, like ever?
Yeah, it was very few.
Very few.
You knew he was getting the ball, and he would just pound it, put his shoulders down, and go right through you.
Yep.
That's awesome.
The entire everyone knew Lusaka Polite was going to get the ball on 3rd and 4th, or 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and he got the first down almost automatically. So why aren't we using our fullback in that position, or why are we not putting in Brooks in that position? I mean,
It's a good question. It's a good
our
question.
third down play calls were not great. I didn't care for them.
I mean, yeah, we are, like someone said, I know we are Monday morning quarterbacks and everything, but when it's blatant obvious, something's got to change.
Something's got to change.
Yeah.
And, I get that point when people say that, like, it's easy to say it on Monday, but the coach is supposed to be seeing it real time live, and they got the headsets and say, hey, like I go back to the week 1 with Josh Allen. Ken Dorsey, after that first pick, when he threw it to double coverage to a guy that was 5'5", he should have said, hey, Josh, you moron, why are you throwing it there when you had 2 other guys?
Yeah.
And he did it 3
Grand
more times.
slam, home run.
Yeah.
Oh. So,
So
7-0.
It's
Sorry.
obviously it's easier to see it on
It's
Monday,
okay.
but the coaches have to be on game day saying, okay, this doesn't work. Now we got to try this. Oh, hey, on 3rd and 1s, maybe instead of trying to throw it when, they might be expecting a pass, let's run the ball up the middle with one of our 3 running backs, or our fullback. Or just get an I formation and run up the middle. Then, or do a QB sneak, which is almost guaranteed in most cases now, do something like that. So
Yeah.
even when people say that, you know, you're being an armchair GM or quarterback or whatever, but the coaches aren't making the adjustments when they're watching it with their own eyes in the game. So definitely needs to be
Well,
talked
and
about.
that's why they're making the money, right, Sean? Like that is
Yeah.
exactly no, Raphael, this is not my real hair. My real hair is stuffed up under a wig cap. No, this is not my real hair.
Yeah, you make the
Grandma
adjustment.
didn't dye her hair teal.
Why not?
I don't know. I don't want to be a blue hair. I don't want to be a blue hair. Sorry. The blue
Well, you
plate
wear it.
special I'll do.
Okay, but you wear it well, Pam.
Listen,
Thank you.
wait, Pam, you said blue hair. Sean, what's a blue hair?
I know what a blue hair is.
No,
You know,
Sean's,
Sean?
no, he's too
No,
young
Sean
to
should know.
know that. He's too young to know that.
Blue hair are the little old ladies.
That's what
I'm
we
that
called them when
age, but
we
I
were young.
refuse to be that person. I'm
Oh, okay, I get it.
That's what we called them when we were young. Blue
the blue
hairs.
hairs. The blue hairs. Yep. I got 5 grandkids, but they don't call me blue hair. No. They're like, yeah, that's our Mimi. I always tell them, do you want the nice Mimi or the mean Mimi? Because you can have either one.
You get to choose.
Yeah. But Sean, do yourself a favor and go look up Lusaka Polite.
I will.
I'm serious. You will love watching the dude. He's definitely a Dolphin, so he's not in your real house as far as that goes, but he was just ridiculous. He was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I always appreciate, you know, players like that, you know, the gritty guys that maybe don't get as much love as other players. Like, I'm a big offensive line guy, and you know, when I played football, they always emphasized the skill guys aren't good without the offensive linemen being good. You can't win games without winning the line of scrimmage. You can't do this without this. You can't do that without the O-line, whatever. So hearing we don't, you know, there's only 7 fullbacks in the league now, and people don't use them like they used to use them back in the, you know, even from what I remember when I was a little kid watching.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, so I definitely look him up, and you know, it kind of stinks that they don't have that in the game anymore. They kind of use, like, you know, I feel like Ingold and Juszczyk, like guys like that, they don't even really use him as a fullback. They kind of use him as like we'll put him out in the cover as a running some routes once in a while. Maybe they'll lead block once in a while, but you know, it's not the same game anymore, unfortunately.
And actually, Ingold
fullbacks are endangered species.
Oh yeah.
And Ingold actually has played really well all season. He's run some routes that look great and had some great blocks. Like, I love what we have done with him, but we didn't do that in this last game. We didn't do that. And so just to give you a little person to look up, and you may know who he is, Sean, but one of my favorite players, he's not a Dolphin player, but one of my favorite players in the NFL is oh dang, I just forgot. McCaffrey. Ed McCaffrey. You want to talk about a guy that
I never watched
he played off? Oh my Lord. He had a trifecta in one game. Remember that, John? What did he do in one game? Remember?
I didn't follow Denver that well. I know who Ed McCaffrey is. I mean, the guy was a great receiver, but
he kicked a field goal. He caught a pass for a touchdown, and I want to say he threw a pass for a touchdown. He had a trifecta in one game. He was just that guy. I never liked Denver. I hate Denver, but he was just a guy. They put him in on offense or defense. Like he was just this all around player. Yes, he is an amazing player, amazing guy. Loved him.
We had a guy like that named they call him Crash Jensen.
Yeah,
Crash Jensen.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, that McCaffrey that you talking about, ain't he related to Christian?
Yeah, it's Christian's dad.
Okay, that's Christian's dad. And then also, there's
Yes,
another
that's
McCaffrey that's in college football.
Yep. He has
There's
like
another one
4
playing in college
sons, I
football, he
think. Yep, a bunch of them were in college football. And I think think Christian's brother played in the NFL for a while too, but that McCaffrey, it's kind of like the
It's a good bloodline.
yeah,
He was good.
exactly.
He was good. I
Exactly.
remember. I know what you're talking about. He was good.
Yep. I mean, he was just ridiculous. Like and he was not a big guy either. He was not a big guy. He's kind of a smaller guy. I just
if I remember right, he's taller than his son, but he was much skinnier.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like it's a lot easier to put on muscle in today's world than it might have been back then.
Well, Ed was primarily a receiver, so he wasn't trying to put on muscle because he was, trying to run past guys and
right.
So he was a receiver. His son started off as a running back. So because he's shorter and stout, but
he has a son right now that's playing for a Texas team. It might be Rice. I'm not too sure. And he started off. He started off as a quarterback, but he's now a wide receiver or tight end one, and he is good. That's McCaffrey.
Yeah, McCaffrey. There's like 4 of those boys. Ed's sons. There's a bunch of them, and they're all football guys. I was gonna say kind of like the Manning family, right? Like just that football family that's just got it in their bloodlines.
Okay, everyone. I think I'm going to call it early tonight. I got to get up early for a doctor's appointment. My wife's got a doctor's appointment, and
busy day.
Yeah.
And this wig is squeezing my head. I got to get this off.
I appreciate you guys letting me come out tonight. And
can I ask Sean one question before we finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Is there actually an empty trophy case in the stadium?
I haven't seen it. I've never been into the clubhouse, so I'm sure there's something there. I mean, there's some AFC Championship trophies in there, but definitely ain't no Super Bowls in there.
Right. Sean, you're a good guy. Yeah, you're a nice young man.
You're one of the better ones, Sean.
Yes.
Yes, good.
Anytime you guys want me on, I'm always, even if I'm not commenting, I'm always listening to all you guys. So keep doing what you're doing. I love to be a part of it. And
you're more than welcome to join us anytime, Sean.
Same, likewise to you. Anytime you guys want to hop on my channel, you guys are always welcome to.
Thanks, Sean.
Especially come the end of the year when we're getting ready to whip your butts down here.
That's right.
Maybe we could do something live at the tailgate or something. We could do.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Together.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, guys. You guys have a great night.
You too,
Sean.
We'll see you soon.
Good night.
See you later.
Bye.
All right then.
Any last words, everybody?
Fins up.
Fins up. Peace, love, and fins up.
Do it, Sean. Do it.
John, you first.
Last words would be, let's hope the coaches, both offensive and defensive, try to do some better things, different things against these next 2 opponents where, I mean, statistically, we should win both the games. That doesn't mean we're gonna.
Hey, Bahana.
Let's hope that, let's try a different scheme on defense. Let's move Xavier around. Let's stop being stubborn. Let's play to the strengths of what we have so we can see what we got coming down the rest of the season so that we can see, all right, are we going to be viable in the playoffs or do we got to change things?
Maybe not so much zone.
Right. Play some man-to-man. Move Xavier from side to side. I know Fangio doesn't like moving his corners. He likes to have them on one side or the other. But damn.
When you got a guy getting burnt constantly, you need to either change him or give him some support.
Right.
Give him some help.
And you're paying Xavier all this money to be the guy. Well, let him be the guy.
Let him be the guy.
And Xavier want to come in and play, but that's the part I don't agree with.
That's right, Mr. Polk. Agreed.
Any last words, Mr. Polk?
Like I said on another platform, I'm not saying that Fangio needs to be ousted. No, Fangio You're old enough, long enough. Make the changes. Coach McDaniels, you're doing well, but don't get stuck. Don't let your head get too big. Also,
Mm.
for both coaches, don't take none of our opponents. Don't overlook them. Do the film work, do preparation, so that we can play each team, beat these teams, and make it to the promised land. Be prepared. Don't just take no teams for lightly. Don't take none of
Yeah.
them for lightly. And change for each, like I said, for each opponent, change your schemes. And like I said, if something's not working, change it.
Yep.
Fins
It's
up,
their
y'all. Thanks
job,
for having me
right,
on the show,
Mr.
Papa
Polk?
Paul.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Polk. You're more than welcome anytime,
Hands
sir.
up, Mr.
And
Polk.
oh, Miss Pamela, thanks for speaking up for making a nice comment on the other platform. I appreciate you. I love you, my sister.
And you're welcome. You my brother.
All
Well,
right,
Miss,
y'all take care. Papa
you
Paul,
too,
Dolphin
Mr. Polk.
Winners, John. Y'all take care now.
You too, Mr. Polk. Fins up.
Hands up, Mr.
Up.
Polk.
Fins up. All right.
Miss Pamela.
Yeah, so I agree with what Mr. Polk said. What you've been trying to say all day, Paul, John, Dolphin Winners. I agree with y'all. The Fangio, you need to call me up, dude. I got a little recipe, a little home cooking I can tell you all about. And I whack you on the head a couple times with my spoon because you need a little whack or two on your head to wake you up. I think he's got the talent. I know the team has the talent. Get her done, buddy. Get her done. And love you guys. Hands
Love
up.
you too, Miss Pamela.
Love you, fins up.
Mr. Winners.
It's time to turn the page and look towards the New York Giants. And I think that's a team that we can sit there and singly handle very well and rebound. But I don't want to get back into the trap of sitting there calling it Tua and Tyreek MVPs and going crazy with another 400 or 500 yard performance. The fact of the matter is, excuse me, we as a team and we as a fan base understand what this team can and cannot do after 4 weeks. Can we make the adjustments? I believe we can. Will we make the adjustments? That's what's going to be answered probably on this Sunday. I believe we rebound back. I believe we beat the New York Giants. But remember, folks, it is the New York Giants.
We need to make the adjustments over the next 2 weeks and make them quite convincingly.
Absolutely. Because I'm going to tell you this.
If they don't fix something, we're going to get smacked in Philly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because I'll say this. I believe this, and this is my feelings. We can do exactly what we just did. We can beat the Giants. We can beat Carolina, and we can come right here to Philly. And me and John will be there in the stands, and we'll be sitting there looking at each other like, what the fuck? So,
I know.
But with that being said, thanks for everybody watching tonight. Thanks for everybody always tuning in. Miss Pam, it's always a pleasure having you on. John, my brother, I love you, man. Thanks for being on with us.
I love all you
It
guys.
wouldn't be possible, man. This wouldn't be possible with you, brother, without you. And as always, man, have a good week. Have a good day. Be safe as always and always. Peace, love, and fins up, everybody.
Yep.
Peace,
Don't
love, and
go
fins up.
anywhere, Winners.
Got you.
Yeah, thank you everybody for just being here. We do what we do because we love doing it. We are diehard Dolphins. We're going to support them no matter what, the good, the bad, and the ugly, like it just was. But we still love our Dolphins. We may not like what happened, but we're there for them. Other than that, thank you everybody for joining in. Shout out to Stephen D, Shake Money, Lewis, color commentators, Ali, the Persian, Miss Fins, and all the other ones that I didn't mention. And don't forget, Philly Invasion, they have no more game tickets, but you can still get tailgate tickets. So don't forget to go to tailgreeter.com and check it out. Other than that, peace, love, and fins up, everybody. Have a good night. See y'all next time.